Welcome to the channel all about economic board games. Today I'm going to be giving you an overview of this game called The Last Spike, the railway building game. So it's a game by Tom there at the bottom, the designer, and this one's brought to you by Columbia Games. Now it plays 2 to 6. It recommends 3 to 6 though. Should take you roughly 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and it's a bit of a lightweight fun game, this one. So you are trying to build railway networks from Sacramento to St. Louis, and once that's achieved the game will end. Now there's a host of cities in various colours, and they've got these land tiles, deeds at the side, which you'll be trying to speculate into, make money, and the most money will win the game. Now the turn order is nicely depicted on the board here. So you've got lay one track and pay the cost first. So each player has these 4 tiles here, and I've set up a 2-player game, and normally these are hidden, so you'd have them like that, but just to show you guys what we've got. So you're going to be placing a tile. You can see that each one of these has a letter and a number that correlates to somewhere on the board and the cost of laying that track. Now you have to place this either next to a city or next to an adjacent tile. So if W4 was already out there, we could put next to W3 if we had it. But if you can't, then you're going to have to pay double the cost. So we're lucky that our first tile we could put W4, which is just here, and that would only cost us 1,000 to lay that because we are next to one of these cities. If we didn't have W4 and we had something else and we had to put, say, A3 down, you can see it's not adjacent to a tile, it's not next to a city, so we'd have to pay double, which is 6,000, and we don't want to be paying over the odds to build these tracks. Now when you do place next to a city, the first player to do it, you go over to the shares and you can see yellow, the top card is this 0, so as a bonus you get that card at 0 cost. Now you can only ever buy 1 share on your turn, and if you acquire this, then that's kind of your share bought, and you keep these in front of you, and as you acquire more, you can see when they pay out eventually, the more shares you have, the more money you get. So the next thing you can do on your turn then is collect the payout of any. So what does that mean? So if, let's just say, W1, W2 and W3 were already out in full, and we were the player to sort of fill this line, the rail network from Yuma to Denver, there'd be a payout for each city connected. So anyone who had shares in this Yuma and anyone who had shares in the orange would get a payout. And as I say, the more shares you've got, so if we did have 3 shares, now these are all visible to all players, say we had 3 shares, we're going to get £18,000, and that's how you get your money to then pay for more track and buy more shares in a minute. If you did have Denver, you can see there's slight different variants there. Yellows pays out up to 30 grand, and it starts with 6 grand, 5 grand and 25. So these all slightly differ, and the cost of buying them differ as well. So you can see the purples here, the first one's 4, 5, 6, and clearly you're going to want to buy the cheapest ones, but you can only buy these once someone has actually taken the first 0 deed. These ones you can see go up to 45, and they start with 5, 6, 7, etc. So they all slightly differ there. So the next thing you're going to do then, you've collected payouts if there is any possible. You're going to buy 1 property. In this case they already took the 0 tile, so they couldn't, but on future turns, let's just say you put W3 out. In this case you pay the cost, you then get to buy 1 of these properties, and you can only buy a property that's the 0's already gone. So in this case we could only buy a yellow one, but as people start taking these 0's, we have more options to buy one from one of those. Only 1 share, mind, and that is how you're going to speculate with the land as you go through. What else have we got? So you bought a property, you're then going to draw a tile from the bag, there's loads in there, and that replenishes your hand, and then you go to the next player. So these guys, have they got W3 in this case? No. All the others, they shouldn't play first unless they really have to, because they're going to have to pay double cost, and being an economy game you want to save your money and spend it at the right places. Y1 then is the only one they can probably play, and you can see that's up here next to Ogden, so they would take the first deed for Ogden, which now makes it available for other players to potentially buy, so they keep that in front of them. They then collect any payouts, which there isn't in this case. Buy one property, nope, because they've already got the 0, and then they draw a tile. Now, if you do ever run out of money, which could happen, you're bankrupt as such, you have a chance to sell your land at half the price to the bank, and that's the only chance you can do that if you can't actually afford to pay for some of these tiles, if you're in a tricky situation. Now, once one player has connected the full route, which I'll show you on the back of the rules, which is a better layout, you can see it's called the last spike. Whoever places the last tile and forms, in this case, a continuous line from Sacramento all the way down here to St. Louis, they're going to get 20 grand bonus, and that ends the game. Most money wins. Now, you can see it's really tricky as to where you're going to invest, because let's just say you thought that, you know, the route was going to go through this city here. It hasn't actually paid out throughout the whole game because there's been no 4 connection there with Ogden, so no payout. No tiles have gone to Denver and none there, so you may have invested your money in that city and had no return from it. So, you know, whereas down here, if you'd invested in Dodge City, they had a payout when that was built, this was built, and this was built, so you can see that they've done really well. So it's kind of this cooperative aspect to it where you want to be, you know, if you buy all the shares for this, then why is anyone else really going to want to contribute to this track, because they're only giving you those dividends from the payouts. So clearly you want to go for Sacramento and St. Louis because they're guaranteed to pay out at least once when the game end is triggered. You can see that's only paid out once. This one happens to be paid out twice. So a lot of sort of neat strategy as to where you're going to follow your opponents there. So I like that. And just one thing to note, the actual game itself is it's functional. You know, the actual board is quite thin cardboard. The actual game box cover itself's in this kind of sleeve, and you got this sort of like pizza box on the actual box there, and the rules themselves are actually an A4 sheet, which is madness, but it's a lightweight game and it's really quick to teach and learn super fast. But that doesn't hold back the game. It does a great job of what it provides you. It's very functional, and for me it reminds me of a kind of mix between Airlines Europe and Acquire, some older games there, and it provides that same interesting buzz. And that is it, folks. Hope you enjoy this one, The Last Spike.